Pokémon has been around for nearly 30 years. And while a lot of critics love to say it's always the same, there couldn't be more wrong. From the moment we stepped out of Pallet to the vast horizon of Paldea, every single region has introduced us to a world-first feature. And today we are breaking down the evolutionary DNA of Pokémon and how every Pokémon generation revolutionized the series. Well, Gen 1 is the origin. It didn't really innovate on the formula that much because it was basically the formula. But if we have to give it a crown for anything, it is for the social linking. Before this game, RPGs were usually a solo experience. But Pokémon Gen 1 forced the players to connect with other people to complete the Pokédex. Gen 2 was the birth of the internal clock. Suddenly your game knew it was Tuesday night or even Sunday morning or whatever day you want. Some Pokémon only appeared during day or night. Then we had time-based events like the bug catching contest that only happened at specific days. And of course, we can't forget baby Pokémon. Gen 2 introduced us to breeding and baby Pokémon. Gen 3 was all about immersion. We moved to the GBA and got really detailed improved visuals, more detailed sprites, environmental reflections in the water, but the real game changer? Double battles. Gen 3 was the first Pokémon game that finally introduced us to a completely new battle mechanic. Before Gen 4, if you didn't have a link cable and a friend within a few meters of you, you were screwed. You were not able to battle your friends or trade. But Gen 4 introduced us to online mechanics, allowing us to trade and battle with people all across the globe. Gen 5 is the GOAT for many people, and for a good reason. It pushed the DS to its absolute limit. We finally got animated sprites. They made the Pokémon feel more alive. We also got seasons, which affected the surroundings but were still pretty basics. For example, during winter we could reach higher areas because the snow piled up, but it was nothing too groundbreaking, but it was a great beginning. And of course we got triple battles, a chaotic experimental edition that showed that Game Freak still wasn't afraid to take risks. Gen 6 was the jump to 3D, but the real MVP was the PSS, Player Search System, and Wonder Trading, which made the world feel populated all the time. These new features are fan favorites because they were simple UIs to let us access the online features. But let's not forget the newly added Fairy type. It was the first new type in 14 years to finally balance the Dragon typing. Gen 7 broke a lot of rules. We finally were able to say goodbye to HM slaves, thanks to the newly added Pokeride feature. And we didn't get the classic gym formula. Instead, we had to face island trials. This shook up the 20-year-old Pokémon formula. Gen 8. This one gave us the wild area. It was the first time we actually saw Pokémon roaming the overworld. It was a proof of concept that showed us Pokémon was ready to leave the tall grass behind. And Gen 8 was also the first Pokémon game that brought us DLCs, the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. Instead of restarting the journey with a third installment, we got massive new areas to explore, over 200 returning Pokémon and new legendaries. And last but not least, we have Gen 9. And that brings us to now. Fully open world Pokémon games. No loading screen between routes anymore. No set order for gyms. You see a mountain, you can probably climb it. If Pokémon improves on its visuals and performance, it could be peak immersive adventures. Each generation took a risk to keep the magic alive. But I want to hear from you, which innovation was the biggest wow moment? Drop a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you won't miss any more future content. Thank you for watching and bye bye.